Keynote 1. Love isn't always shown in ways you expect. Sometimes the deepest love is quiet, hidden behind actions that may seem like indifference. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. We talk about love all the time. We talk about who loves who, who's faithful, who's loyal, and who shows up. But there's something about love that a lot of people don't understand. You see, love isn't always what it looks like. The one who loves you a lot might just be the one who seems to ignore you a lot. Now, that might sound crazy to some of y'all, but hear me out, because this is real life stuff and it happens every single day. Love is not always loud. Love does not always come with grand gestures and constant attention. Sometimes the deepest kind of love is quiet, subtle, and even invisible. Some of the people who truly love you are the ones who won't always be there staring into your eyes or sending a text every hour to tell you how much they care. They might not say, "I love you" 50 times a day, and they might not even remember every small detail about you the way you expect. But that doesn't mean the love isn't there. No, it's there, deep down, under the surface, in ways you don't see at first glance. Let me break it down for you. A lot of times, people mistake attention for love. They think if someone calls them all the time, texts them constantly, and never leaves their side, that is proof of love. But let me tell you something, folks. Attention is easy. Being constantly present is easy. Showing off in front of the world is easy. Love, real, deep, soul-touching love, is hard. It's complicated. It doesn't always look like what you think it should look like. And because it's hard, some people, the ones who truly love you, they go quiet sometimes. They pull back because love is heavy, and they carry it in ways that make them cautious, make them careful. Now think about it. If you love somebody with your whole heart, you're scared. You're scared of hurting them, scared of losing them, scared that they might not understand the depth of what you feel. So sometimes you step back. You might seem distant. You might seem cold. You might even ignore them a little bit. But I want you to listen carefully, that ignoring is not because the love isn't there. It's because the love is so strong that it scares them. They don't want to mess it up. They don't want to overstep. They don't want to smother it. They want it to grow right. And here's something else most people don't get. Love doesn't always need to be loud to be true. The quiet, unnoticed moments, the subtle gestures, those are where the real love hides. Maybe they remember the little things about you nobody else notices. Maybe they're watching out for you in ways you'll never know. Maybe they stay up at night thinking about your happiness and planning how to protect you from hurt. That is love, ladies and gentlemen. That is love in its purest form. And yes, it can feel like ignoring sometimes because the expression of it is different than what you expect. I've seen this happen in relationships time and time again. A man or a woman will love somebody so much, but they won't constantly say it or show it the way movies show it, or social media tells you it should be shown. Instead, they love in actions and sacrifices and patience. They love in ways that are invisible but powerful. And if you can learn to see the love behind the silence, behind the distance, behind the ignoring, you will understand love like few ever do. But here's the catch. It takes maturity to see it. It takes wisdom to recognize that someone who loves you deeply might pull away at times not to hurt you, but to protect both you and themselves. People confuse absence with indifference, silence with rejection, and distance with disinterest. And that's why so many relationships fail. That's why so many hearts break over people who truly loved them but couldn't show it the way they wanted to or the way society said they should. Let me be real with you. Love is complex. It's not simple. It doesn't always follow the rules we want it to follow. The one who loves you a lot might ignore you a lot because they are carrying something heavy, because they are thinking deeply about you and your future, because they are trying to love you in the best way they know how. And sometimes that best way looks like distance. That best way looks like restraint. That best way looks like holding back because they want to make sure when they give themselves to you, it's fully, completely, and unshakably. So next time you feel ignored by someone you love, pause before you judge. Don't jump to the conclusion that they don't care. Don't assume that absence equals lack of love. Look deeper. Watch the little things. Notice the subtle ways they try to show you they care. Because love is often hidden, ladies and gentlemen. It's often quiet. It's often misunderstood. But make no mistake, the one who truly loves you, the one who is willing to fight for you silently, the one who may seem distant at times, is the one whose love is real, steadfast, and powerful. And when you recognize it, cherish it, hold on to it, because that kind of love is rare and it's worth everything. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell something real about love today, something most folks don't want to hear but need to understand. You see, love is not always simple. Love is not always easy. Love is not a straight line from I like you to we live happily ever after. No, love is complicated, messy, and sometimes downright confusing. And one of the most confusing things about love is when the person who loves you the most seems to ignore you the most. Now, that right there will throw people off. They'll say, wait, if they love me, why are they ignoring me? And that's what I'm here to break down for you today. The truth is, people who love deeply often carry fear with them. Fear is a tricky thing. It sneaks into your mind, your heart, your soul, and it makes you do things you don't even realize. And the person who loves you intensely is no different. They fear losing you. They fear messing up. They fear being too much or not enough. And that fear sometimes shows up as distance. That fear sometimes shows up as ignoring you. Not because they don't care, but because the love they feel is so big, it overwhelms them. Think about it for a minute. If you've ever loved someone so much that your heart feels like it might burst, you know what I'm talking about. You're walking around thinking about them constantly. Every text, every call, every smile, every look, it matters to you in a way that makes your stomach twist. That kind of love is powerful, but it's also scary. And when people feel that kind of intensity, they don't always know how to handle it. So sometimes they step back. They seem distant. They ignore you a little bit. But it's not because their love is weak. No, it's because their love is so strong it terrifies them. Now, let me explain something else that most people don't get. The one who loves you a lot, the one who ignores you sometimes, is often wrestling with themselves. They are trying to figure out how to love you right. They are trying to protect themselves from getting hurt. They are trying to protect you from getting hurt. They know love isn't a game. They know it's not about chasing or begging. They know real love requires patience, sacrifice, and timing. And sometimes in that process, it might look like they're ignoring you. But I promise you that ignoring is part of the dance. That ignoring is them trying to love responsibly, wisely, and with intention. And let me be real, fear is a universal thing. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you love somebody with all your heart, there's a part of you that's scared every single day. Scared that they might walk away, scared that they might not see your worth, scared that they might not understand the depth of your feelings. And when that fear creeps in, it manifests in ways that are confusing to the one on the receiving end. You might see silence, absence, or distance. But what you're really seeing is love struggling to find its expression. I want y'all to understand something about fear and love. Fear doesn't make love weaker, it makes it more human. It makes it real. People who love without fear, that's fiction. That's in the movies. Real love comes with worry, anxiety, doubt, and yes, even ignoring sometimes. But underneath all that, the love is still there, burning bright, waiting for the right moment to be seen and felt in its fullest. And here's the thing about ignoring someone out of fear. It's actually a test, whether intentional or not. It's a way for the person to figure out if you're patient, if you're loyal, if you understand that love isn't always about constant attention. It's a way for them to see if you can handle the depth of their feelings without panicking, without running, without misunderstanding. And let me tell you, the ones who can handle that, who can see past the fear and recognize the love behind it, they're the ones who are going to be rewarded with something rare and beautiful. Now, I want to break it down even further. Fear and love doesn't just come from the potential of losing someone, it also comes from past experiences. Maybe they've been hurt before. Maybe they've loved someone and got burned. Maybe they've given their heart to someone and never got it back. And because of that, they approach love with caution. They don't want to make the same mistakes. They don't want to repeat the pain. And so, even when they love you with everything in them, they might step back, pull away, or seem distant. But that's not a reflection of you or your worth. That's a reflection of the caution that comes with loving deeply and learning from the past. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can understand this one truth, it will change the way you see relationships. The one who loves you a lot might ignore you a lot because they're scared. They're scared of losing you. They're scared of loving you too much. They're scared of showing too much vulnerability. They're scared that if they let themselves go all the way, it might hurt them or it might hurt you. And that fear is natural. That fear is human. But it doesn't make their love any less real, any less strong, or any less worth holding on to. So next time you feel ignored by someone who loves you deeply, don't rush to judgment. Don't assume the worst. Don't think they don't care. Look deeper. Listen carefully. Notice the subtle ways they show love as durable. And sure, gestures and attention matter, but they're not the only indicators of love. Some of the most powerful love comes in ways that you might not even notice. Maybe they're ignoring you just enough to let you realize your worth. Maybe they're stepping back so you can see what life is like when they're not constantly around. Maybe they're giving you a little challenge, a little test to show you that love is more than words. Love is action, consistency, and commitment. Think about this for a second. In relationships, some people show love through action rather than words. They're quiet, but their love is steady. They're not always texting or calling, but when it counts, they show up. They're not always hovering, but when you need support, they're right there. That's love. And sometimes the ignoring part, that's them being intentional. That's them trying to create balance, trying to make sure love doesn't become a cage, doesn't become dependence, doesn't become something that feels suffocating. They're showing love responsibly. They're showing love with wisdom, and not everybody can see that. Let me tell you something else that's important to understand. Some people ignore because they're protecting themselves, protecting the relationship, and protecting you. They don't want to overwhelm you. They don't want to make mistakes. They know that love is not just about feelings. It's about timing, about patience, about giving each other room to be human. So sometimes the ignoring is actually a gift. It's a way of saying, I care too much to rush this. I care too much to mess this up. I care too much to not do it right.